South Australian farmers are being warned to prepare for what could be the driest summer in 40 years. In some areas of the state, hay prices have already tripled as the record drought conditions loom.
Under the blistering sun, soil which for the past 2 years has been full of life is now bone dry.
Down by about 200 mils or 300 mils of rain, so it's not going to get any easier.
South Australia's farmers are preparing for the worst drought conditions in 40 years. Even the southeast, which is usually protected by generous rainfall throughout winter, is settling in for the big dry.
In the southeast, for example, it's usually a high rainfall area, so a lot of those farmers haven't had to have the infrastructure in readiness for drought that perhaps they have in some other areas of the state.
Robin Beryl is a grain and livestock farmer from the state's upper southeast. Keeping her sheep and cattle alive is draining the bank balance, as growing her own feed is now impossible.
And we only grow fodder for our animals on farm, so we haven't actually cut hay at all this year, and normally we would have cut 1,000 bales already, and we can't see that we're going to cut hay at all till next year until we get rain.
A lack of supply is driving up prices. To buy 1 tonne of hay last year would have cost Robin $100 to $200. Today, $300.
It's actually almost unaffordable right now.
It's not as good as rain, but the state government is providing desperately needed help for primary producers through an $18 million assistance package.
Even with world's best practice, even with some of the most efficient and effective farmers the world has ever seen, there is still a role for government to provide support where we can.
The key feature is $5 million for farm drought infrastructure grants to strengthen properties against the upcoming conditions.
This is an innovative way to make sure that we're not just handing over cash to farmers, although that might be justified, but handing over cash that allows them to invest in their properties to make them more drought resilient.
$2 million will also go to charities which provide feed for livestock and $1 million for health and wellbeing support. But it still may not be enough to keep all farms afloat.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot of farmers around that even with this they'll struggle.
Monique Van Hayden, Sky News, Adelaide.